If you go to Studio A and look at the schedule on Revolutionary Radio website, and you will be able to click on and find out more information about me and Janie. We have some bios up there. Okay, so today I am interviewing, well, more like a conversation with a friend of mine. He's been a friend of mine for a while now. I don't know, maybe 4 or 5 years. I don't know, 5 years maybe. Anyway, so we're going to Uganda today, and my friend Mwangi Hassan in Uganda, who is a traditional healer of really old school family type lineage. He also has, he's really big about farming and helping with poverty in his area. He also is an environmentalist and looking at the environment, and also he's really big into early childhood education. So he's working on trying to get funding for his village area so that he can actually teach children important, valuable things about the earth and about medicine and about the environment, along with reading and math and education. So he is trying to work on, let's just call it all, well, you know what, it's not alternative methods in education, but let's say it's rewilding of children, right? Rewilding of our minds, and bringing us back to a place where we can actually, the children can remember who they are and build their instincts and their talents, and hopefully they can move out into the world and do the good work. Okay, so Mwangi is going to have an interpreter today. So there will be times where you'll hear his interpreter talking, and then Mwangi will respond, and then his interpreter will tell us what his response was. So I'm really excited to have Mwangi on. So I'm going to bring him on now. So Mwangi, are you there? Hello.
Yes. Hello.
Hello. Okay. So
yeah.
How are you today?
Yes, I'm good. How are you, dear?
I'm wonderful. Wonderful. Glad to have you on.
Thank you.
So I wanted to kind of do like a question and answering about your work, your let's just say your traditional healing work, so people out there can kind of understand more about the type of work that traditional healers, you know, traditional medicine people, and your traditional shamans, you know, very traditional people who come from bloodlines, and you do specific old work or traditional work. Do you want to comment on your work as a traditional healer?
Neyanziza nnyo okunkyazaako ku leediyo eno. Ndi musanyufu nze nga Mwangi Hassan, ate era neesiimye okubawuliza, nange nsaba mumpulirize. Nze omulimu gwange ndi musawo wa kinnansi ddala nga nakuguka mu kulinnyisa empewo. Okay.
So here he goes. He says, as you introduced him, his name is Mwangi Hassan, and he's so delighted to have been hosted here on this Revolutionary Radio. And he's going to tell us more about what you asked and how he's going to do this traditional work and everything in concern about it. So he continues by saying he is a traditional healer who connects the spiritual world to physical world. Maybe he connects the spirits. Maybe he acts as a conduit. As he continues.
Nekiba nti oluvannyuma lw'okuba nti ndi musawo awo mu mbeera y'okuba nti nakuguka mu kulinnyisa, n'olwekyo ndi mwetegefu awamu n'ekibiina kyaffe Luther Lubowa Traditional Healers Association okuba nti tuli basanyufu nnyo okutukyaza kubanga bw'okyaza Monge Hassan kitegeeza Luther nayo eba weeri. Obukugu bwange munnyonnyolako nti nze nga kennyini omuntu natwala ebbanga ppanvu nnyo nga ntawaanyizibwa empewo. Oluvannyuma lw'okutawaanyizibwa empewo, famire yange yatuula n'esalawo okukola empewo ezo bye zeetaaga, so nange ne nnondebwa okubeera omu asobola okuyamba abantu ensi eno. N'olwekyo ekibuuzo ekiwe kiri nti okusinga ennyo obukugu bwange buli wa? Kituufu ddala obukugu bwange buli mu kulinnyisa mpewo.
Okay, he continues by saying he is a professional healer who deals in connecting the spiritual world to physical world. He acts as a conduit between the spirits and his body, the physicality. So he says all along, for him to be a professional healer in terms of spiritual world and connecting, he has been experiencing a lot of hard times since his childhood. He was very much disturbed by the spirits. Maybe we call it disturbance because he wasn't given any opportunities to carry out formal education just because the spirits were on his back, wanting him to do their work and whatever, which he is doing now. He's doing great to the community because he heals a lot of people through connection, through medicine, and other things in the category. So that's what he originally does as a traditional healer.
Kiri ekibadde kyandibadde wawe ekibuuzibwa okuba nti waliwo enkyukakyuka nti ntambula na mbeera ya busawo obw'omulembe guno oba obw'omulembe guli. Kituufu ddala nti ntambula n'obunnansi obw'abajjajjange okuva emabega nga bwe bwatandikwawo. Kubanga obunnansi tebukyuka, fe abantu ffe tubukyusa.
So he says he is following the original traditional healing because traditional healing can never change. It is followed year by year. Since it was started, it is the same thing we are following. We are just adding in a few spices to match with the modern world, but he is originally healing traditionally according to what was originally said. So I hope you get it well.
Okay, so one of the things that, we have conversations a lot about is the ancestors. And just like in your tradition in Uganda, the ancestors are very important in the United States to medicine people. Can Muwanji talk to us about why it's important to listen and work with our ancestors who've passed over?
So agambye nti Buganda tukkiriza nti n'empewo nnungi esali nnyo mu America kati abadde asaba nnyonnyola obulungi bw'empewo ezo gwe nnyonnyola obulungi bw'empewo ezo ewaffe.
Empewo obulungi bwazo kwe kubeera nti empewo nzadde, empewo tukola nazo emirimu mu mbeera nga zirabika n'obutalabika. Empewo zijjanjaba, empewo zirwana entalo, empewo.
So he says there are very many importances of the spirits here in Uganda. He's starting by saying spirits are parents. They are doing a lot in parenting us, one of the importances of these spirits. They are doing well in parenting. They are doing well in medication.
Era empewo ezo nkuumi nnwanyi zitukuuma.
They are all fighters.
Ate era zitutabaganya, zitugatta.
And they act as counselors.
Bw'oba kigoberedde nnyo enkyukakyuka gy'oyogerako Madam Bridget awamu n'abatuuliriza eri mu America ne mu Uganda ngenda kukonawo ebintu bino okusinga ennyo kati kumpi biringa bye bimu.
So when you follow it tightly and the connection between Uganda and America, there is not much difference between these spirits because they do the same work in that people just mistake them and just ignore their work, but they do the same. What spirits do in Uganda or in Uganda is the same thing they do in America or United States.
Bw'oba okitunuulira nti okusoomozebwa kwe kumu ate era kwe mufuna naffe kwe tufuna nti twayingirirwa abantu ab'ekinnoomu ne muvaamu ne bafuuka ebibinja okusobola okulabika nti basaanyaawo obunnansi.
So the major problems here we are facing, you may call it okay. It may be the same as you're facing there in America, just because people came like a group, or it started as person-wise. People started underlooking the work of spirits, and as per now, people are no longer looking at spirits as the important key to set our lives. So I think he thinks that is the major problem that disturbs the people in America, which is also cropping here in Uganda, and that's what we've been fighting all along. And with their guidance and their counseling, I know everything will be cleared.
N'olwekyo ne kiba nti bw'obanga agoberedde wano mu Buganda empewo tukyazikiririzaamu naye ate era okusoomoozebwa era kukyaliwo. Tuzikiririzaamu naye era n'okusoomoozebwa kukyaliwo. Tukyetaaga okubeera nti abantu bongera okusomesebwa bafune okumanyisibwa nti empewo simbi. Naddala generation yene eriwo erina okusoomoozebwa kunene.
So generally when you look at it, we are still disturbed by ignorance because people do not understand what spirits do even here. So he says we need to set up schooling, we need to set up so many conferences for us to set people know the work of spirits and their don'ts and whatever. So it is the same thing you can do there in America to do or to let people know and go by spirits and understand their work.
Okay.
So he concludes.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So, all right. So, being a traditional healer myself, and conversations that Muwanji and I had in the past, there are a lot of if you're not in alignment and you're not working, I don't know, with all your relations, that's kind of a term that's used here. Means all your relations, means the spirits in all living things, the spirits, our ancestors, and they teach us and guide us. And there are a lot of things that can happen to people when they don't listen to their ancestors and they don't work with the spirits. And you can I know that Muwanji was saying a few years ago that they were working with some of the Western type medical doctors because there were things that the medical doctors couldn't help the people with. And so sometimes some of the mental illnesses that people have and sometimes the actual physical illnesses are actually caused by the disconnection and separation from the spirit-based knowledge and working with the spirits. So would Muwanji talk a little bit about that?
Okay. Gamba. Mwogedde ekitala kinene nenga ngeza kumugamba nti obadde ogenda okukola n'abadokitazi abazungu nga waliwo endwadde ng'ez'omutwe ze batasobola kukolako naye nga tozikolako.
Yes, Madam Bridget, awamu n'abatuwuliriza. Mu byonna ekisinga okuba ekikulu kuba nkwatagana. Nze mu nkola yange nkwatagana n'abasawo abo mu ngeri bweti nti muwa omulwadde ng'omulwadde annemeredde ng'obulwadde embulaba tebukwatagana na nsonga ye. Okugeza nga bw'onolaba nti omulwadde oyo afunye accident, nga bw'onolaba nti omulwadde oyo yafunye oba nkiyite ntya kwegamba naaba nga endwadde tejja mu bunnansi naye ate waliwo ebintu ebijja.
So he says, all in all, okay, he thanks you for such a question. So he says, all in all, what we need is connection.
Hello? Are you there? Did I lose ya? Hello? Uh-oh. Hold on one second. Let's see what's happened. Oop, hold on, let me ring him back. Ring-a-ding-ding. Let's ring him back. Oop.
Abruptly.
Okay. We're good. Okay.
Yeah, he's still narrating about how he's doing it with the former doctors about mental illness.
So kyokka waliwo abasawo abamu ate era benkolagana nabo nesi bonna abasawo abamu mulimu abamu abalwala nga takikkiririzaako ddala nga balina obulwadde obutakikkiririzaako ddala nti waliwo obulwadde bwonna obukwatagana mu kinnansi.
So he says he's connecting with doctors, but don't all, because some of former doctors don't believe that there can be diseases that can be healed by traditional healers. So by that, he's still limited, but he's continuing by collaborating with these doctors about this mental illness that can come to people abruptly and cannot be healed by these former doctors. Here he says how he does it.
Era nyinza okususpectinga nti abantu bangi bali mu malwaliro ag'ekizungu olw'obunafu bw'okuba nti obunnansi bwasaanyizibwawo.
And he may suspect it that there are so many people suffering from hospitals there without knowing the originality of the diseases, just because there was a cut or there was a misunderstanding from the traditional healing. People do not understand about traditional healing. They just go by normal healing.
Era oba okigoberedde mu ssaawa eno abantu bonna ensi yonna balalu.
So when you follow it close to close, you may find that all people in the world are mad. Yeah?
Because kubanga abantu basuula obunnansi bwabwe.
Just because the type of madness is falling to a part of psychopaths. Yeah, this is what he termed madness. Just because people left their traditional healing or left their culture long time ago and they no longer care about it.
Tosobola buli lw'osuula obunnansi bwo kkiriza oba ogaane oba mulalu kati nnyinza okukuwa ekyokulabirako.
Whenever you let your culture down, you cannot you cannot exit this episode. He's giving an example.
Oyinza okukitunuulira n'olaba nti ku budde buno ffe tetukyasobola kutegeera nti kino ekirime kibirimu eddagala.
You may find it that many people here do not understand, even at any instance, the use of green pasture. They cannot trace what this grass can do to them.
Bw'oba okitunuulidde wane waffe mu Buganda oba mu Africa mu nsi ze nnaakatambulako entonotono embwa ze zaasigaza kati okutegeera obutonde.
So when you look at widely here in Uganda and the continent here in Africa and or maybe the whole world, according to his research, he says it was left only to animals that still understand culture and their norms. Just because these dogs or animals know when they suffer from any diseases, they continue by healing themselves.
Nga bw'onolaba nti esobola okukwata embwa sinkugu mu kulya muddo naye bw'erumwa n'emanya nti kati olubuto lugiruma enjoka zigiruma yo yennyini n'emanya nti kati olumbugu luno ddagala ligenda kunnyamba okumpumula n'erulya n'etandika okulya omuddo era ekivaamu embwa eyo neewona ate kitali ku muntu.
So you may wonder about this because animals like dogs don't eat grass, but when they feel stomach ache, they go straight to certain grass or certain pasture. They pick it, eat it, and they get healed, which is not found to many of us here.
Era bw'oba okyongera okukyetegereza lwaki olaba nti abantu bonna kati balalu ate era obulalu abantu bamala okulaluka ne batandika okufuuyira buli kintu buli wamu wonna bakozesa bomba.
So when you look at deeply, what brought this madness in people is they spray a lot. Everything now here is sprayed, and chemicals and their effects to the mental ability and our physicality. They do not match at all. But this is what people resort to.
Kati ne kireeta environment okukyankala.
Which has brought to degradation of our environment.
Bw'ogenda okukigoberera emisota kati ku ssaawa najjo miralu tetukyasobola kwogera najjo nga luli bwe twabeeranga mu bunnansi.
So when you look deeply, even snakes, you can find a snake in a mad process or falling a psychopath just because we no longer keep them as they were used to be kept, and we are taking out everything they used to be in. Just because they don't enjoy chemical sprays and wherever, because everywhere now is sprayed by chemicals.
Kale awo ne kireeta obuzibu bw'amaanyi era simanyi oba nandazze nnyo ndowooza kanzizeeko ku kazindaalo gy'oli bw'oba okyanneetaaga okunyonnyola ku ekyo nja kukinyonnyola naye bw'oba nga si kyekyo sobola okuzza ku kazindaalo gy'oli.
Okay, so there he concludes. He says, if you have any misunderstanding or if you have anything that you haven't understood, you can get back to him. He's ready to do whatever you ask.
Okay, great. So, turn my volume up a little bit. All right, so because what he's saying is because we've lost connection to the environment, the spirits that live in the environment as well, and the spraying of destruction of our environment is leading to severe mental illness, causing people to become psychopaths because of the toxins in the environment, and because there's nothing natural that they can connect with anymore.
Yeah, and you may also add people letting their culture down. Okay, badagamba nti kyobadde otegeeza kwe kuba nti nno ekireesewo okulaluka kw'abantu kwe kuba nti nno abantu tebakyalina connection na environment olwokuba nti no bagisanyizaawo.
Yes, n'okuba si kyo kyokka biri bibiri ebikulu. Ekisooka kwe kubeera nti abantu baasuula obuwangwa bwabwe. Ekyokubiri kwe kubeera nti abantu bakopye nnyo enkola ey'ekizungu ne babanga buli kintu kyonna kyonna bakifuuyira kuba n'eddagala etukozesa kakati ku ssaawa eno likyankalanye environment nfu. So ensonga ziri bbiri, okusuula obuwangwa bwabwe n'okuba nga bayitiriza okufuuyira.
So he says there are two major reasons as to why people are now turning psychopaths. One you've mentioned, people losing connection with the environment, and the other is people getting down from their culture. That has caused a lot people falling psychopaths all around the world.
Singa Madam Bridget n'abatuuliriza ensi singa eneesobola okutegeera nti empewo za mugaso era ensi eyimiridde ku mpewo ensi ejja kuddamu etereere.
So dear Bridget and our dear listeners, Monge says if people get to know and get back to their roots, that is culture, he is concrete sure that this world will get back to its normal senses and it's working, and no earth is now interrupted, but He says if people get back to their normal culture and their roots, this world is going to get clear.
Ate waliwo kino kinsesa.
So he says this is causing a lot of laughter to him.
Bw'oba ogoberedde nnyo ensi yonna olw'okusuula obuwangwa bwayo, ensi Madam Bridget n'abatuuliriza etabuse nnyo mu byobufuzi, mu byenfuna, mu byensoma ne mu byentegeera.
So he says following the destroying of culture all around the world, there is a lot of disability in politics, in economics, in social services, and wherever, just because people lost sense in culture.
Kubanga ensi eno yennyini bwe tuli erina abaagirwanirira okuva emabega. Ngeza ensi yonna keba America, keba Uganda.
Because the world we are in now was brought back from the people we even don't know. The whole world was brought from the people we don't know, and which is the bad thing is we are letting down the rules of the people who set this world. So we are turning away from the rules of the people who set this world, and we're doing our own things, which has brought a lot of chaos today in terms of living.
Kati abantu abo kusaawa naffe gye tuyita emizimu.
So at this moment, those are the people we call spirits or ghosts. We can call them spirits.
Yes.
Yeah, these are the spirits that started the world.
Ezandibadde zirina okuba nti zirina okutuyamba okutuzza ebintu, okutuddiza ebintu byatambulanga bitya, naye ku ssaawa eno situkyasobola kufuna bintu ntambula yaabyo mu kusobola kuba nti bitambula mu mbeera yaabyo. Abantu bonna totale balalu.
Just because we lost sense in acting, these are the same spirits that could help us guide the world to move so close to what they used to be in, but because we lost sense and we may say we lost the value in our culture. This is why people are now tending so much to have little interest in culture and the category.
Yeah.
Okay. That's all super great. I just wanted to add something in just that goes kind of along with what Mwangi has said. I grew up in two bloodlines, and like him, I had spirits all over me from day one, driving you crazy and making your life, more complicated. And half of my lineage of where I come from is Russian heritage, but I didn't know a lot about that, like Russian shamanic type lines. And so growing up, it was the prevalent spirits from that culture and from that line that were trying to communicate with me. But because my great grandparents on my dad's side, on both sides, came to America to get away from the Revolution War in Russia. I have somebody's phone going off. I grew up in America not speaking Russian and not having a connection because I didn't have a full connection with my real father. He wasn't really connected to his roots in Russia. So it became a very complicated thing, I think, for my real father and for me, having abilities from old lines and not having the culture to support it. And it made things a lot difficult, but the spirits wouldn't let me adopt an American lifestyle. The spirits were constantly on me, talking to me in my world, so that I wouldn't adopt an American lifestyle, and that I would constantly search and do the work and listen to them and work with people and heal them. So for me, I totally understand the disconnect of culture and the disconnect of my lineage and how difficult it's been. And sometimes the ancestors and the spirits that are trying to talk to me speak in a different way that I'm not really accustomed to, because it would come from like a Russian knowledge or wisdom or that land, those grasses, those trees. And I have 3 years ago in the dreaming world, they took me to Russia to work on this huge tree, this giant cedar tree that actually illuminated light so that I could actually start at least trying to touch my culture through the spirit world. And it really helped me a lot. Actually, that tree supported me and helped me, that spirit, so that I could connect more with my culture and my ancestors.
Okay.
So, yeah, so we can go ahead and move on. There was a period of my life that I thought I was going mad because, you know, I wanted to adopt a different culture and the culture wasn't mine, even though I was born in it. So there is this madness that sometimes we have to like break through to the other side to become clear, I think. Do you want to, so Mwangi has like a special talent that as far as in America and places in the world, not many people have. And he can set fractured and broken bone long distance. Does he want to, could he talk a little bit about that?
So, yatuuseeko oluvannyuma lw'okuba nti yaluzinga originality ye nempewo nezimutawanya naye agamba nti wayogerako naye agamba nti waliwo ekiseera yatuuka n'afuuka omulabe just because yaluzinga culture oba originality simanyi kati naye n'agamba nti wayogerako ku nsonga y'okuba nti nno oyunga amagumba agamenyese mu distance katugeze omuntu amenyekedde bundi bujjo n'omuyungira e Kampala ekyo kyogerako otya kitegeere
ekyo okuyungira mu bbanga era tosobola kukituukako nga totegeera mpewo zo.
So he says getting broken bones into a normal senses cannot be successfully made or cannot be successfully done without following your spirits.
Kuba ebyo byonna biba biri wakati wansi wa mpewo era biba biri mu maanyi ga mpewo.
Because that is naturally done by the power spirits.
Kuba si kuyunga kwokka n'okujjanjaba mu mbeera ez'enjawulo naye ng'omuntu ali wala.
Not just turning back into normal broken bone, but also treating people from a distance who are suffering from different diseases and others.
Singa aba oyi yennyini gw'okolako ekyo ategeerera kikyali.
So that is, if that person you are healing to understands what is actually making him or her ill, that is when he understands what is disturbing him, that can be totally won and can be totally succeed.
Yeah.
So that is what he can talk about long distance putting back into broken bones. Okay, he continues.
Bw'oba okigoberedde n'empewo teri ayinza kumanya weesula ate teri ayinza kumanya weeva.
Just because by following it linearly, you cannot know where the spirits live or you cannot know where the spirits sleep.
Kakati n'olwekyo iyo teggulirwa ate teggalirwa.
That is, you cannot close doors for it and you cannot open doors for it.
Kati awo n'olwekyo kyova olaba nti esobola okukola kyonna ky'eba eyagala ku muntu kaba ali distance.
So this brings about healing to a distance. This is how they can do a lot in healing from a distance. That is what it can be, or that is how it can be done cleanly and simply.
Jukira muntu ebyo byonna byali byadda.
And remember that it was all brought from our traditional norms or from afar.
Kati nolwekyo ffe ffennyini twetaagisa kuzza maanyi ago ebyo byonna bisoboka.
So it is our obligation now to put our spirits into normal ways of working like they used to do in the early times.
Yeah.
Good.
So that's what, yeah.
Okay, so all right, so this is what I understand, right? From this is that in order to fix a broken bone, you have to listen to the spirits to figure out where the broken came from, and then heal the person like mentally, emotionally, physically, and spiritually, so that the bone will come together using the spirits to make that happen. The spirits giving the information and the guidance to make that happen. But once the person's mind gets clear, their body gets clear, that the bone will just come into alignment.
Yeah, let me turn to him maybe for more clarification. Agamanti, omutusinga abera nga amenyese. Yetagisa wetagisa kuba nti nno abeera mu mbeera ezo ez'okuba nti nno agenda kukolebwako, guno obeera nti nno osobola okusettinga empewo zo okuba nti nno zigenda ne zimukolako okuba nga amaze okwesettinga nga y'omuntu. Ekyo kyokka. Omuntu ye yesettinga nga y'omuntu nga bw'aba nga amenyese yeteeke mu mbeera eyo nti n'empewo zigenda muwonya naawe obeera nga osobola okuba nti nno oyongeramu amaanyi kyokka.
No. Kyetaagisa omuntu oyo yennyini bw'amala okwetegeka, era kitwetaagisa okusooka okulaba nti amagumba ge gayimiridde gatya. Singa oba omala singa omuntu oyo aba yeetegese obulungi n'aba nti okumujjanjaba mu distance olusi okuvaayo obulungi mu muntu ekyandibadde yeetaaga oba muggwe kye weetaaga, kwe kusooka nti omuntu n'akutuukako n'otereeza eggumba eryo. Bw'omala oditereeza ye n'addayo oba ggwe n'oddayo n'otandika okumujjanjaba ng'oyita mu nkola eya distance. Era eddagala ly'oba osoosa omweyisaako libeera limala. Kati oluvannyuma n'olyoka oyita empewo zo, kati n'osigala ng'ojjanjaba omuntu oyo mu distance. Naye togamba bugambi nti no agenda kumenyeka awo agambe nti neetereezezza abeera awo nti gumba litereere. No.
Okay, he says for the issue of broken bone, it needs a person to be said. That person should come for clarification to clear and to put back into right position the broken bone before being worked upon. When the bone is put into right portions and direction, the person can get back to his destination and he leaves the work of spirits now. So it is Mwonji's work to set the spirits and continue with the medication continually. This is a lot of science, by the way. You need to experience it, but you can be home and he's at his destination. He does his mixture of medicine together with spirit's power. He starts working on you when you're home and everything's set. Then that's how distance can heal or can heal work by healing or by putting back into right position of the broken bone.
Yeah, in addition to that.
In addition, he says,
nature ebintu ebitambula wakiyite hand in hand, bitambula bibiri, bitambulira wamu. Singa omuntu ayamala okumenyeka eggumba eryo, ate era nsobola mulifaalinga n'asooka mu kizungu n'afuna ekifaananyi, n'efuna ekifaananyi ekyo. Ate era ne kinnyamba okwongera okwetegereza kiki ekiriwo kati awo oluvannyuma nze ne ndyoka nteeka eggumba eryo mu mbeera zaali ze ndyagalamu naye nga mmaze okufuna ekifaananyi eggumba eryo lyamenyese kyenkana ki.
So to add on his words, he says, these things work hand in hand, all move together. Like for this episode of a broken bone, he can first transfer the patient to the hospital. They make the x-ray of the broken bone. He gets to know the real position where the bone was really broken. Then he continues with his work when the bone is truly set in the position where it can get healed in all at faster rate.
So kati ne mubaamu asobola okuba nga ate asobola okuba nga buli lunaku nga mufuna awaka oba okuba ng'ali mu distance kwekyo.
Yeah, so he continues, he says, just because there can be two types of these people. One can get healed when he's visiting him daily on daily basis to his destination. Or he can do it at a distance when you're home and he's at his destination and everything gets clear. And this is how you can see the real importance of connection. That these former doctors can X-ray or can make a picture of the broken bone. He puts it to him, or these doctors take the photo to him. Then he can clarify the thing, and everything now is done traditionally and spiritually. And this is the work.
Good. Okay, so this is for the interpreter. So we are going to have we're going to have a commercials coming from 56 till the hour for 7 minutes, and then we're going to be quiet, and then we'll come back on. You'll hear my voice, and that's how you'll know we're coming back on. So we have a few minutes left in this hour. So could he talk about how we can start, say that a person does not know how to work or contact their ancestors? Can he give us a description of how we can start making contact?
Okay. Thanks. So is this coming the next episode?
The commercial? No, we're going to talk about how we can work with our ancestors now. We have about 8 minutes before we go to commercial for 7 minutes.
All right.
Okay.
nti ayiga atya okuba nti naabeera connected n'empewo kuyiga ayiga okuba nti abeera connected
Okay.
kati si kyakuyiga nsuubira kino kiri nakyo
kati ntandikira. Oh yeah, my dear. Nsuubira nti empewo oyinza okukiyita nti si kyekyangu kyokugamba tugenda kusoma busomi.
So for the work of spirits, he doesn't think that connecting with the spirits is being studied. No, it ain't being studied or learned.
Wabula ekintu kyokusinga kiba mu musaayi.
But this is blood.
Bw'oba okifunye ennyo obusawo bw'ekinnansika mu Uganda oba in Africa okutwalira wamu oba ensi yonna okutwalira wamu nti abantu bangi bakiyingiddemu naye nga tekibali mu musaayi.
So when you get deeply here in Uganda, all around the world, generally, you can get it that many people have been doing this wrongly, or maybe not in right proportions, because since this is blood, people tend to be the conduits, or they tend to be possessed, but in real sense, they are not possessed. Just because this is blood, it is not the real power cannot be experienced by every person that like you said that it is learned or you can learn about it. No, this is not the issue, but the issue is connecting with spirits or connecting with ancestors is in blood. Not everyone can do it, or it can't be learned. But since its origin is blood, then this is done naturally.
Mpozzi mulimu ebisobola okusoma obusomwa nga byennyinza okugaa nti nsobola okukusomesa.
But there can be things that can be learned or can be studied.
For example, nti nno bw'oba oyunga genda onoga eddagala bwe riti genda okole bwoti.
Yeah, for example, in healing, you can start about traditional healing or whatever, but you cannot study about connecting.
Naye kuli okulinnyisa empewo ekulinnye ebe ng'osobola okufuna eddoboozi lyayo. Ekyo kiba kiva mu musaayi kuba bali babanga bajjajjaffe abeeyokuva emabega nti oyinza okukitunuulira nti ne bwe kiba kika nga kirimu abantu kitwale nti 10 oba n'okusingawo ate osooka osingana ng'empewo zironzemu omuntu omu oba babiri.
Yeah, for more clarification about what he has been saying, you can find it that even in clan, there may exist around 100 people, but you may find that the spirit choose 1 or 2 people to represent others, which means this ain't a studied episode or this ain't a studied part, but this is originally in blood.
Naye nga gwe by'osobola okuyiga kwe kumanya nti empewo za mugaso.
About what you can learn is to know that spirits are real very important.
Zisobola okukuyamba w'oli wonna.
They can help you wherever you are.
Bw'oba ozikiririzaamu.
When you believe in them.
Zisobola okutaasa entalo.
They can rescue you from so many problems and fights you don't know.
Yeah, oba okutangira.
Or prevent you from any chaos that can come around your life.
Kuba zo tezina nnyo bingi bizeetaaga.
They don't need a lot.
Zeetaaga zisinza.
They just want they just want to believe in them and maybe give praises to them. That's when you can achieve what we've been talking about.
Kuba ffe abakkiririza mu mpewo.
Because we the believers in spirits.
Tokola mpewo kyetaagala.
You cannot do what the spirits do not want.
Ate zo empewo zitugamba.
And here the spirits tell us
tezajja kutumalako mirembe.
They did not come to put peace out of us.
Wabula zajja tukolera.
But they came to work for us.
Okutukuuma.
To guide us and protect us.
N'okutuwa emirembe.
And to give us peace.
N'olwekyo oba gwe oyagala okuyiga.
So when you want to learn,
jangu mu Luther.
You can get connected to the Lubao traditional healers in Quartz Luther.
Osome.
And learn.
Osobola otya okutegeera empewo zo.
Learn how you can really understand your spirits.
Zo zennyini zisobola kutegeera zitya.
And how they can really understand you.
Kuba ekizibu ekisinga nti abantu.
The major problem that people face.
Tebamanyi lulimi lwa mpewo.
Don't know the language of spirits.
Olw'ekyasa kino ebbanga libamaze nga olw'ekyasa kino nti kidobonkanye nnyo. Just because culture was let down. So in brief, that's what he can say about the question you asked him.
Very good. So we have about 3 minutes or 2 minutes before we go to commercial. And when we come back, we're going to we're going to talk about ceremonies and farming and what Mwangi thinks about re-educating or rewilding, educating for children to include their ancient cultures and their ways of healing and connection, along with reading and writing and science. And I just wanted to add one thing before we go to commercial. One of my native teachers that passed in June 2016 used to tell me all the time that our blood is crystal. The crystals are in our blood, and that this is how once we, like if we want to do long distance healing or we want to connect with the different spirits in our environment, that we use the crystals in our blood, the connection by blood, all my relations, like in terms that Native uses in America, means that, you know, we are all blood. And so the crystals in our blood, in our body, actually communicate with our environment or the spirits, or can send long distance healing and transmitting. This is how we connect with our transmitters and how we transmit a signal of healing, because our spirits are leading us to do that into another person, and their crystals pick up that information And so I'm not sure if it's like that in Uganda, but that's basically what my teacher taught me about how we transmit signals and communications with the outside world in our environment. And different people have different types of blood or crystals in their blood because they have different kinds of skills and abilities that the spirits would like to utilize, or their spirits can teach them about. So we're getting ready to go for commercial. So we're going to quiet down for 7 minutes, and then we'll see you back in 7 minutes.
All right, that's great.
Radio at freedomslips.com, and we'll be right back after this message.
Enter into a world unseen on Raven Star's Witching Hour. You will encounter eclectic topics from the realm of spirit brought into our matrix of truth. With your host, the Solaris Blue Raven. Solaris will bring you an array of unique guests covering topics from ghostly spirits to amazing anomalies, covert technology, UFOs, and shadowy global events.
And that's right here at Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, Saturdays midnight till 2 a.m. Eastern Time. Revolution Radio, where information never sleeps.
Let the magic rise.
Join me weekdays for my new show, Tell Chris Joe. It's going to be a problem show brought to you live from Kensington. Thursdays, I'm dealing with hot topics, heated debate, what's new around the world, and ring-ins to discuss listeners' problems and offering considered and heartfelt solutions. So join me, Chris Hart, for Tell Chris Joe. Stop what you're doing, grab a cup of tea. I'm coming live from Kensington. Relax. Let me entertain you with a coffee bar online. Listeners' very personal problems. So that's Thursdays, 2 p.m. in the afternoon, Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com. See you there. It's going to be lots of fun.
This is Barbara DeLong, host of Nightlight Radio, inviting you to join me on a cosmic journey, exploring a metaphysical montage of spiritual material, covering everything from the mundane to the magical, UFOs to unicorns, and everything in between, including spiritual readings for those who seek enlightenment. Let Nightlight provide you with equal measure of light, love and laughter, insight, wisdom, and inspiration. Monday nights, 10 to 12 p.m. Eastern, right here on Studio B, Revolution Radio, at freedomslips.com.
The opinions expressed on this radio station, its programs, and its website by the hosts, guests, and call-in listeners or chatters are solely the opinions of the original source who expressed them. They do not necessarily represent the opinions of Revolution Radio and freedomslips.com, its staff, or affiliates. You're listening to Revolution Radio, freedomslips.com, 100% listener-supported radio, and now we return you to your host.
are you there? Muwanji, are you there? Hello? Oh,
Hello?
hey. All right, so we're back on the show.
Yeah.
And so what we're going to do is we're going to, is there anything that you want to add? Does Muwanji want to add from the last hour? And then we'll start on some other topics.
Okay.
Yes. Yes. Kyembadde njagala okwongerako kyekikwataganye n'empewo ku musomesawo nga kiri ekyo bw'obadde nnyonnyolako nzikiriziganya bulungi nakyo.
So he says he has what to add on the last hour we've had. He says he can add on what you said about the connection you learned with your teacher about the connection of the spirits by crystallizing. He adds.
Empewo buli muntu yenna omutonde ayina empewo.
So he says every person that was created has spirits.
Naye kye nabadde sikufunyeemu ndowooza bulungi emabega wali nga empewo ezo zirimu ebika bya mirundi esatu. Mulimu empewo eyiyo ekuyisa Muwonge Hassan ekuyisa Muwonge, ne mubaamu empewo eya famire, ne mubaamu empewo ey'ensi.
So he says about what he said, that every person that is created has spirits. He says there is a spirit that is owing you, or this spirit that is acting to you as a person, this spirit that was let you be named after Bridget or Dolgoff. This name, I don't know the clan name, but the clan name or Dolgoff. There is a spirit that guides you in that way. There is a clan, there is a family spirit and the worldly spirit. So, in brief, he says every person can be connected to the spirits, but differently.
Waliwo empewo ate era ezirinya nabadde njogera ku mpewo ezirinya omuntu zoogere.
So previously he was talking about spirits that can possess a person and they bring what they feel can be put to people out there.
Nenga buli muntu omutonde ku kiri kyonna buli muntu omutonde yenna alina empewo.
But back to the issue, he says like crystals, like he said, everyone possesses crystals in blood that can connect him or her to the spiritual world. It is real true that everybody has them, and this is brought and this brings about the difference that one can have the connection by possession, and one can have the connection when these spirits are just speaking in blood, but they are not possessed. I don't know whether Reed get that.
Yeah, I totally get that. One is about just in your daily life, walking around and your spirit's talking to you and giving you information. And then
True.
The second one is the sit down and ceremony and to open yourself up to working with them more directly for a specific intention or cause.
Yeah, that's real.
Exactly. Yeah, that is it.
Okay, good. Okay, so I'm going to let Muwanji talk about the thing that he always wants to talk about right now, which is the early childhood education and his visions of a new school system for the children in Uganda that include, math, reading, science and all these other things, but also include teaching the children their culture, connecting them to the spirits and the environment, and allowing them to evolve into what their talents and abilities are with working with the world and the spirits. So if he would like to talk about his vision of early childhood education and what he's trying to bring forward in Uganda, that would be wonderful.
Okay.
agambye nti wadde ojja oyogera ku baana abato engeri gy'ogenda okuba nti nobasomesamu okuyiga okubala okuwandiika n'engeri gye bagenda okonekitibwa mu environment ne family abadde asaba oyogere ku ekyo eri abantu bategeere ensoma egenda kuyimirirawo etya mu Uganda era nsobe ekyo kinaba kiwedde kijja kugira
nze ku lwange nalowooza oba awamu ne bannange aba Lubowa Traditional Healers Association nendowooza okubangawo essomero eryo lye tuyita Kuteesa Junior School nga tuli ku mulamwa ogw'okulabika nti abaana abato okuviira ddala wansi tusobola okubasomesa okutegeera obunnansi bwabwe busobola
So he says, him personally, plus the team he collaborates with, sat down one time. They came up with an idea of building this school. This school the idea is majorly focusing from the infant stage up to the mature stage where people can get to understand their culture and modern ways, how things move by culture and modern ways. So he says by this idea, they wanted to start over by infants. They get to teach them social sciences. They get to teach them how culture works to the modern world. And okay, here he continues with it.
Kubanga obutamanya bwe businze okuleetera eggwanga n'ensi yonna okutwalira wamu ebizibu.
Yeah, because ignorance is the major key that has brought chaos to the world. That's why he came up with an idea of starting with infants to continue to the mature stage, but infants being the generation, that's where he wanted to start from to bring this out.
Kuba nalaba nti mu Uganda twatuula tutunuuliranga mu Uganda awamu oba n'enseera endala ezitwetoolodde temuliimu ssomero lisomesa baana misomo gikwatagana na bunnansi bwabwe spirituale wabula abasomesa nsoma yokka eri gye tuyitaani fomo naye nga ensoma eri endala ffe kwe twali ey'omwana abaddewo ate nga teriiwo. So ne tulowooza nti bwe tuteekawo junior school eyo tugenda kusomesa abaana ebintu ebyo byonna. Yeah.
So by analysis, they sat with a team. They saw it in Uganda, or take it in East Africa. There isn't any school that can bring culture to students directly and connecting culture to modern teachings. So by their idea, they wanted to create a school that can teach the young generation their culture, their origins, and at the same time, they go with the formal education.
Kuba twagala okuyamba abaana nga bw'otunuulira abaana nti omwana mulema, lwaki omwana oyo mulema?
So by their idea, they looked still deeply to the disabled. They wanted to bring it out and to show people that, or they wanted to bring out the reasons as to why these disabled people do exist. They do exist just not because they wanted to be disabled, but there are some issues that were brought about for this child to be disabled. So this is what exactly they want to bring if all goes well.
Era omwana asobola atya okwerwanako tukitunuulira nga twagala okukiraga omwana okutumusomesa okuva mu buto nti omwana ono asobola atya okwerwanako asobola atya okulwanirira eddembe lye n'ategeera nti nno bwe bampewo si kya bulabe bwe kiba kino bwe kiti si kya bulabe asobola atya okuyiga yeerwaneko.
So, in addition to that, they want to teach children how to fight for themselves and how to know their rights. Because when they know that this is caused by a spirit, they get to realize very faster and they get to cure whatever can come their way. So by that, they want people, or they want young generation to be mind-wise, knowledgeable, and to know when and where to decide on what happens in their lives.
Singa omwana ayiga enjiga eno ffe gye tuli nga naddala nze Mwongasani gyendi ate n'agattamu okuba nti dokita mu fomo n'agattamu okuba nti looya n'agattamu okuba nti inginiya n'agattamu okuba ng'ali n'ebirala kitegeeza omwana yagenda kubeera wa mugaso nnyo eri ensi.
So it says, if an infant or if a child gets to learn about culture and they get to professions like engineering, doctorate, lawyers, and whatever, it is seen that this child is going to be totally crucial and vital to our next generation or to our general living, just because he understands to connect the modern world to the original world where we come from. So you can see how this can help when they move hand in hand.
Kuba bw'ogenda okukitunuulira abantu abali mu environment abakulira environment n'ebirala tebalina kibategeera ku buwangwa naye singa omwana afuluma mu kuteesa junior school ng'ategeera obuwangwa n'atuuka mu maaso n'abeera nga asomye n'akulira obutonde bw'ensi agenda kuba ategeera nnyo kubanga egyo emiti mwabeerangangamu empewo zaffe mu bibira mwabeerangamu empewo zaffe kati ku ssaawa eno byonna biweddewo because of sorry.
So he says we are totally disturbed by the environment we are in. All people in service now do not understand the places they serve. Like people who are dealing with environment don't really understand the originality of the environment and how they can really connect with the spiritual world. So he says if they get to teach infant, or if Kutesa Infant School is set, they can sure that a child is going to be set in a normal way that he understands the environment, and to the next level, he will be understanding each and everything concerning his life and the environment. And this is how the whole world is going to be resolved, by just bringing the cultural education to the young generation, and to carry on life smoothly without people all falling psychopaths and whatever.
Yeah, kubanga omwana bw'asoma okuva wansi n'ategeera ensonga ezo kigenda kumuleetera okuba nti empewo ezitajja ziyita stan.
Yeah, when a child from an infant stage gets to learn about spirits, it will not cause him calling the spirit satanic.
Era lwakubadde kuba kati olaba nti ffe naddala nsi omukulembeze wa Luther nsanze obuzibu bunene nti era olaba nti n'essaawa eno kuteesa ekyatulemeredde okuzimba okutuuka we tugyetaaga olw'okuba nti buli oli omuntu lwawuliramu ekigambo ekikwataganye n'obunnansi tosobola kufuna buyambi bwa kuva mu bantu balala olw'okuba nti baagala balabanga oyo sitaani.
So this has brought major problem. All this has brought many disturbances to their idea of setting up this school, because when people get to hear about culture, when people get to hear about building culture, they sit back. They cannot come out to help out people, and this has disturbed him as a director of Lubawa Traditional Healers Association, that is set back by funds to put this in action, just because there is some culture in it, and people tend to ignore cultural things.
Right. So we've had conversations before, but one of the themes is that because of, like, we'll just say, like, generalize, like Christianity and some of these other cultures have been involved with creating education systems, like in Uganda, that and I love the word that you guys use, is disabled. And so you say that it's disabled the child from being, being able to connect with their spirits and their culture and their ancestors. And then the children learn negative words that are implemented into their brain, like satanic, that their culture is, their traditional original culture is satanic. And the work that you do with the environment and the spirit world. And so if you have a child who started from infancy in the teachings with the spirits and the ceremonies and the original stuff, and then say they're really good with working with trees, and then they go on to get a higher education and become an environmentalist, they're going to be able to do a lot more work with trees globally, because they'll have a base understanding, and the spirits of the trees will communicate to them what the trees need. And then they'll be able to explain this to other members of their society, and then work with the spirits and the modern system to actually heal the world. But I think it's really interesting that the word disabled was used, because that's kind of like what happens to our babies, especially in hospitals in America. They take the babies away from the mothers and they go put them somewhere else. So the babies start to learn this separation, and they become disabled because they don't have that connection, even with their mother, their proper connection with their mother. So anyway, I know Mwangi's like really passionate. It's his number one thing he's passionate about. So he's a father. Can he talk about how he has raised his children in a different way so that they're not disabled?
kyasinga okuba nti natwabalako kumpulidde kuba abalema babaddewo bate mu environment naye nga tebafunye kusobolozebwa. Kinyumidde nnyo ekyokuba nti nno nga bwe tulaba nti nno abakatoliki babaddewo naye nga basetinze n'abasiraamu basetinga amasomero omusingi gwa busiraamu, n'abakatoliki basetinga amasomero omusingi gwa kikatoliki. Naffe abakaika bwe twetaaga okuba tukikola, naye ensonga esinga kunyumira okuba nti twogedde ku disabled y'ensonga nkulu nnyo. Nawulira era agala okuwa obuyambi esobola okuba nti nemukwataganya, kubanga omwana we abaana bangi bamukolaki bamuzaala nga mulema, bamuisolatingirawo bamujja ne ku maama we. Ekyo ekintu ekiyinza okuba nti kikyamu okuba nti aleetawo isolation. Naye agambye nti mu kaseera kakumanyiddeko oli taata, kati abadde asaba oyogere ku abaana bo bazze bofunye lwaki tebalina bulemu.
Neyanziza nnyo, naye nga obulemu ekibuganye okubaawo kwe kuba nti nze kennyini ndi mulwanyi era nakkiriza, nzikiririza mu buwangwa bwange, ate nzikiririza mu buwangwa bwange. Bw'olira okkiririza mu buwangwa bwo ebintu bingi bigonda.
So he says he's doing well in parenting people or all his children without any disability, just because he at first thought it well and great that spiritual wise it is very important to believe in them. When you believe in spirits and their work, he totally says you can never experience anything like bringing out any disabled child right away from the mother's womb.
Kakati okiraba nti abazadde ekyo kyaliwo nnyo mu bazadde baffe abajja batuzaala. Omwana buli lwazaalwa ng'alina obulemu bazadde be bamukoowa era baba tebamwagala mweriraanya.
So this is originally brought from parenting or from our original parents, that when they bring or when they possess or when they get to have a disabled child, the child tends to be a problem to them. They tend to get away from him or her.
Oyinza okulabirako, for example, nze kennyini nyinza okufuuka ekyokulabirako. Era Madam Bridget n'abatuuliriza ntuusa okubategeeza ekintu kino nti tukwasaganyirize wamu omuntu yenna eyandyagadde okuba ng'alina okukkiririza mu buwangwa bwe. Tukwasaganyize wamu tulwane olutalo oba olutalo lwatuyingiramu okulabika nti tuzza obuwangwa bwaffe ku ntikko.
So he says he can act as an example, but he says through you, Bridget, and our dear listeners, he is urging you to call upon people to get back to their culture, just because this is the major road that causes so many children to be disabled. Because
nze kenyini bakadde bange balemwa okunteekamu amaanyi naddala nasigala ku maama oluvannyuma lw'okuba nti natawanyizibwa empewo zino nga ndi muto nga nakazaalwa nenzija nga mbeerawo ng'empewo zinsuula eddalu olw'okuba zaali zirina bye zibanja mu famire kyavaamu obutampeerera kusoma.
And apart from the physical disability, he acts as an example just because away from the physical disability, he says right away from his childhood, he was so much affected by the power of spirits, and his father tended to ignore him, and he was left only in the hands of her mother. And you may see that he lost education. He didn't attend from education just because his father was ignorant about the work of spirits. But if his father was well versed by the work of spirits, trust me, he would be a very great person, serving the spirits and at the same time knowing the language and whatever, to serve the country very well.
So kati kyokka ate ku ssaawa eno okiraba nti ate kati banneetaaga kuba ndi wa mugaso nti nsobola okutuula n'enkola radio show eno nga ndi ku international level naye nga ate muzadde wange naddala taata nti yateekayo obunafu nga mu baana baalabanga nze atambala ng'alabanga nze agenda okufa era atali wa mugaso.
So, but due to the power of spirits, has showed it that even though he was disturbed by this power, he is narrating that their parents now value him a lot. He is now doing it a lot to teaching people locally and international wise. He is a great man in his community and country. So you can see how real spirits work out their things. So if only his father had not ignored him, trust me, he would be then a great person more than you can see him right away. Just because he missed from education, this let him set back in his terms of living, but he thanks the powers of spirits that he is now talking to you and the whole world.
Naye ng'ate ogwo omulimu maama wange yagukola olw'okuba nti nabazadde abakazi ye tasobola kuva mu mwana we.
But majorly he thanks his mother just because he took care of him, just because her mother took care of him, and he's now doing well, and he is now a man who can act as an example to everyone. So he thanks his mother for the great work done, for not ignoring him.
kyova olaba nti ntadde effort nnene okuba nti nange njagala okuteekawo essomero eryo okuba nti lisobola okuyamba abantu abaali mu buzibu obufaanagana nga nze bwe nalimu.
That's why he's putting much efforts and he's fighting tooth and nail to start up Kutesa Junior School to cater for these children who might have been affected by what he was affected by in his early stage.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Okay, so let's see. I think when I first met Mwangi, he got sent to me by email about Richard Allen Miller had sent him. This is how Mwangi and I became friends. Mwangi was interested in trying to figure out how to develop urban farming in Uganda to help ease the poverty and be able to provide food. And I was doing some work with Richard Allen Miller in those arenas. So Richard Allen Miller sent Mwangi's email to me, and then I started responding to Mwangi, and we ended up finding out that we had a lot in common, more so than farming. During that time frame, I think Mwangi was asked to speak at the Orthos conference, which is a international medical conference. And I remember talking to him about it after, and he, because he has his language, and it's a medical conference, and him just saying that, he just really prayed that the spirits, would fix everything so that, his message would get across as a traditional healer. So one of the things that Mwangi's really been working towards is trying to help, Western medicine, doctors, and traditional healers bridge a compromise together, and so that the traditional healers can do the work that they're good at, the doctors can do the work that they're good at, and that everybody works together and collaborates together, which is really a powerful situation. So over the years since I've known Mwangi, one of the things that a project I started was a traditional healers association, where eventually people from all over the world will be able to sign up to the association, and we'll have world conferences, and a lot of these traditional healers will have that live in villages and places all over the world will be able to speak at these conferences, give workshops, and then people can come and listen to them speak about their work and their other types of work. So that's a collaboration that Mwangi and I are working on. And then he's fighting tooth and nail to get these schools in Uganda and worldwide to change how we're teaching our children and making sure they're connected from early on. Another thing that Mwangi does is when he gets called to go do a ceremony or a healing for people or an area or the environment, he cultivates goats so that he can take food. Part of his work with the spirits, is to also end poverty. And so he will bring goats with him to give to this community or the person or the family that he's going to work with and heal, so that they can propagate the goats and start to build an income and food and wealth, and then be able to share the goats that are born throughout the community. So he does a lot more than just stay up all night trying to figure out how to get his schools going. So could you ask Mwangi if he would like to talk about, his work with poverty and utilizing farming that he has, and to go out and that he brings food with him when he goes out to do ceremonies and in his communities and environment.
Okay, great. Thank you for elaborating about Monge. It has been so great.
So, abadde sooka bibadde bingi kunyadde kuba bajja kufuna kyakutegeerako nakina kimu ebirala bingi naye nayogera nti akimanyi nti bw'oba okalingawo bw'oba oli mu kukola emikolo mufuna embuzi mufuna emmere n'abantu abo bwe muba mugenda okukolako abantu ne musobola okuba nti balya naye ate nga so osobola okulagerako nga ggwe engeri obulimi gy'obukwasaganyizzaamu ng'omuntu n'ebyolina
thanks. Kakati obulimi butambulira wamu, obulimi n'obulunzi bitambulira wamu n'empewo oba n'obuwangwa.
So he thanks you. He says farming and culture move hand in hand.
Kubanga empewo zaffe abantu baazo abagoberezi baazo bwe bakuŋŋaana beetaaga kulya.
Because the followers or the believers of our spirits, when they come together, they need to be provided with food.
Kati n'olwekyo ekyo kiba kiba mu kyo kiba kyetaagisa kubeera tulina okulima kusobola okufuna emmere abantu gye bagenda okulya.
So in that we need to carry out farming in order to cater for our people with food.
So tugezaako okuyigiriza abantu abo naffe ffennyini okubeera nti nze kennyini ngezaako okulunda embuzi, ente, enkoko n'okulima emmere eno yennyini yaffe eyo eri mu nsi yaffe.
So him and his team tries out to figure out the importance of farming and rearing animals. He says by farming, by this process of farming, he comes together with a team of the Boa Traditional Healer Association. They teach people on how to carry out our original farming, and also with rearing animals like goats and cows and animals in category, just because these are so much vital in the process of healing and connecting.
N'okusobola okuba nti tulwana okusobola okulaba tukozesa tutya kati ettaka ettono lye tulina.
And they are also fighting a lot and so hard to learn how to utilize the small land they got now to cater for what they rear like goats and cows, and also to cater for the growth of food.
Kuba batumala okufunamu emmere ate era abantu bayigirizibwa okusobola okuba nti mu ebyo tulimi ate ebimu tusobola okutundako tufunamu akasente akatono ne tusobola okufuna ku daily income.
So from that they carry out from rearing and farming, apart from a provision of food and animals to work out in ceremonies, they also utilize this small farming they carry out to also get some daily income by selling it and also get some daily income. But all in all, their major focus is to teach people how to farm and to cater for the needy where necessary. Those people without food and those people in terms of need, when they sell this food, they can help the needy in terms of money. They can help the needy in terms of food. So simply, that's what they do in terms of farming on their small land they possess right now.
N'okusobola okuba nti nno abantu basobola okusobola okweyimirizaawo. Kati waliwo ebintu nga biri bye twadde twogerako okufuuyira abantu abasobola okuyiga nga basinziirira mu ffe ffennyini ng'abalutha mwaka akatono ke tulinawo nti abantu basobola batya okukozesa kyetwandiyise organic farming okusobola okuba nti abantu basobola okukozesa naye nga tebayongeddemu nnyo okufuuyira.
So he says for his people to be successful in farming, they also try to avoid spraying their food with chemical, and they resort to organic farming, like the use of ash, like the use of peppermint, like the use of green pasture after mixture. This can act as a chemical, I can say chemical naturally, that they use to prevent the attack of any pests and diseases that can attack their major area of farming. And by this, they avoid these things, and they also control the environment, not by applying chemical appliances like pesticides and other things in category.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Bwekyo kati ne kiba nti ekyo kyennyini kituyamba nnyo okusobola okuba nti bw'oba weegoberedde ofunayo akasente akakatono akasobola okuyamba okuweerera omwana mu kasente akatono, ate era n'osobola okufunamu ekyokulya, ate era n'osobola okufunamu omwana ekyokwambala, kubanga ebintu si byangu. Yeah.
So by proper planning of what they have, they get what to feed their stomachs. They get what to give their children who are at school. They also get to cater for their basic needs in any categories like clothing and wherever.
Yeah.
So that's what he can talk about, farming and rearing in connection with culture.
Yeah, for me, I think it's very important to connect the type of, traditional healer work or shamanism work that I do with, the environment, and to also farm. It's really, for me, is really important. I think the farming really helps me stay grounded and healthy.
That's so true. And omukulu wa shamanism okuba nti nalima naye nga ate byalima biconnectinga ne shamanic work jako.
Nawano bwekiri.
And he says, what you think and what you do there is the same thing that is done really here with Luther.
Yeah. Okay, so can he, does he want to add on to why it's important to take care of our environment and how that can aid us in healing, to maybe encourage more people to grow food or thoughts about growing food? So maybe have him add some thoughts about how maybe he works with the environment and how it helps him to heal, and what kind of healing he sees in other people that start to work with their environment.
Okay. So agamba nti nga gwe nzotya okwogera ku bulungi bw'environment ekuyambye ety okuba nti osobola okukoleramu obulungi emirimu gyo, abantu basomesezza otya okuba nti bakozesa bulungi environment yaabwe nti mu kye beetaaga.
Mulimu munene kuba environment yennyini nkyankalamu nga bwe twabyogeddeko olubereberye oba nga bwe twabirabye olubereberye. Kati abantu tulwanagana nabo abo bennyini ba Luther members nabo bennyini okwongera okutambuza omuzindaalo ogwo okusobola okuba guno omulimu kumpi gwandyetaagisiza na gavumenti guyingiramu, kubanga ssente zikulemesa oba zikubula nga tosobola kufuna ssente zisobola kutambula kukola workshops okusobola okusomesa abantu enkozesa gye basobola okukozesamu obutonde, kubanga kati olaba nti tulina ekizibu abantu obuveera babusuula nga babalabye, kakati buli muntu ekintu akikozesa nga bw'abalabye olw'obunafu bwabwe mu kusomesebwa. Naye n'olwekyo nze siyinza kugamba nti nkoseddwa nnyo ntya naye ngezaako okwerwanako bwentyo.
So, okay, he says this is a wild and wide and big question, but he may say that as per now, totally, the environment is perturbed, the environment is destroyed, that reaching out people there is really hard just because he is not well off to carry out this properly. So he says this being this big, he says this is needed the government to really come out and sort out some issues, just because people here are so ignorant about how to conserve environment. The government could have come out to teach people on how to use polythene bags, but here polythene bags are just kept anyhow, and this is a great cause of degradation to our environment. So he says by that he needs a lot to put in order to teach people on how to use the environment. But here is how he recently using the environment to help people.
Kati awo sobola kwogera ku ngeri gy'okozesa environment wadde yadonkana gikozeseemu ojjanjaba abantu nga bwe tukimanyi.
Oba okigoberedde nti nze ngezaako okugezaako okukozesa obutonde nga nkozesa egyo emiti egiriwo, ate era nendaba nti ate gisobola okutuyambako ku bantu, nolaba nti ewandyetagisiza empeke, ate omuntu n'akozesa n'omulaga nti nno omuddo gujja kuyamba, nolaba nga ate omuntu omuddo ogwo gumuyambye, so bwe bityo.
So he says, following the extinction of several species of trees and grass, he says he is now using what is available to heal people, and okay, he can use what is available to service his people he's working with, and people from outside his country, people away from his country. So he says by this environment he's utilizing, he's really so much concerned, and he's doing great job in utilizing what is now available in the country. Though now what is available in the country is not enough for him to carry out the work of healing by medicine smoothly, just because the environment is so much degraded and destroyed by cutting down trees a lot, by burning, and people here tend to destroy environment in so many cases. We early narrated, but by his power he is able to heal people by medicine and spiritual wise. So he's still narrating about how he can really work hand in hand with environment to help people and to teach people about how the environment can really work to heal them and to collaborate with the environment by his people.
Environment oba ojaawo n'okusomesa abantu gye bayinza okuba nti nno basobola okuba nti bakozesa mu bulungi environment, teboonoonye oba nakutema emiti gyabitagisa.
Abantu sirina nnyo Madam Bridget n'abatuuliriza, sirina nnyo kyenyiza kwogera kiwanvu kisingaawo, kubanga kyentegeera obulungi nnyina kusomesa abantu, oba tulina okusomesa abantu okutegeera obunnansi obuwangwa nti bwa mugaso. Olw'ensonga bajjajjaffe baakuuma ebibira okubaawo oluvannyuma lw'okubanga nti baakimanyanga nti ebibira ebyo birimu empewo zaabwe, ne bakuuma ennyanja okuba nti tezoonoonebwa olw'okubanga waliwo empewo eziva mu nnyanja, ne bakuuma ensozi okuba nti ziri seefu olw'okuba nti bategeera nti waliwo empewo zaabwe eziva mu nsozi, ne bakuuma ebikko okuba nga birungi oluvannyuma lw'okuba nti bategeera nti mu bikko omwo mulimu empewo zaabwe. N'olwekyo tusobola kuba nti tugugumula abantu okutegeera environment nti ya mugaso nti era ekuumiddwa etya nga abantu basudde obuwangwa bwabwe kubanga ssente zennyini ezisobola okukola omulimu ogwo mu Luther oba mufa aba Luther naddala bwe ntunulamu nga nze director ndaba nga ssente ezo ntono ezitaliimu nga tuzeetaagisa buyambi. We need donors. Yeah.
So he says he cannot add on so much about the teaching of the conservation of environment to people, but he can say and prove it to the people he's near with that what brought stability in the original world was that our grandfathers knew how to keep forests firm because they knew that these forests could originate some of the spirits who give us support and other things to follow. They could keep safe the lakes and rivers. They could keep safe valleys and hills. Because they knew this is the origin of our real spirits that give us guidance and protection. But now people are ignorant about it, and people care, and people now care more about their living. They have really ignored culture and wherever. So he says, what is needed now is to put in more power and put in more power such that people can get back to their origin, such that people can conserve environment by not now building in valleys, by not building on the hills, by not cutting down trees. But this can be done only when the government puts in some laws, or when there is some support for organizations like Luther and what you are now putting in service, for people to know the use of the things now. But as per now, he can do nothing to the outside world other than the people he's connected with, for them to know well. All else, now that some of them have known by listening to this revolutionary radio, but others haven't done. So what could be done is to prepare more workshops and conferences to give out this knowledge to the people who are really ignorant about the environment and how it is connected to our culture.
I agree. The work that, a lot of people that we're doing, there's a lot of grassroots work that's being done worldwide. We're like moving mountains, one person trying to push a mountain.
That's so true.
And so it's good to talk to people, worldwide, to see that the same, they're facing the same issues, and that they understand it, and that they are working with the spirits of the earth. They hear the spirits of the earth, talking to them and asking them to help to educate people to do this work themselves. And it's tiring work. It's a lot of work. It's I know in my own life, it's a lot of work every day. So we're going to be getting ready here in about, 7 minutes to end the show. So is there anything that Muwanji would just like to talk about that he thinks that is important that we have not covered?
Okay.
So agamba nti olina kyoyinza okuba nti nno oyogerako nga gw'omuntu kubanga usigadde dakiika musanvu okuba nti sho eggwako.
Neyanziza nnyo neyanzeege. Ekisooka ngenda kwebaza Ministry of Consciousness kulemberwa omukyalo oyo Madam Bridget Danoff. Ministry of Consciousness nandisabye nga nze healer oba spiritual healer, empewo zitukwatireko esobole okufuna obuyambi okuva mu nsi yonna, esobole okuyamba abantu kuba ya mugaso nnyo okusinziira ku nze gye nzije. Ekirala,
So he says he would like to thank so much you, dear Bridget, and your Ministry of Consciousness, that you have done really great, and you have made a revolution from where he started up to where he is now, and he is praying so much that we get what our goals are, and we get to set to the real life you narrated before.
Yeah, the traditional healer, original healers, so that we can, bring them together from all cultures worldwide. I know I can't wait for it to happen. I'm still working on a lot of it and the funding. But eventually, we'll have all colors and people from all traditions coming together to, let's inspire the world and teach people how to do the things that we do. So we're really excited about that. Really, really, I get more and more excited about it every day. So anyway, so I want to thank, we're getting ready. We've got like about maybe 5 minutes. Does Muwanji want to just add anything in that he can talk about for 5 minutes?
Yeah, he can.
Okay, naye ayogedde ku ngeri nawe gy'oyogedde mu kino Ministry of Consciousness ekolagana kati n'abasawo bangi nnyo, ekolagana ne cultures nnyingi nnyo okuba nti n'abasobola okuzayo obuwangwa byabwe. Naye kati naye kimusanyusizza okuba nti nawe kyogeddeko, naye kati okusaba oyongere mu dakiika 5 ekyoyagala okuba nti nonyera okwogerako.
Era nensaba abantu mwenna abatuwuliriza okwongera okukwatagana tusobole okulwanyisa nkuba omulanga guno eri abantu mwenna abandibadde baagala obunaasa okuddawo. Tukwatagane, ffenna tuli muntu omu wadde.
So he is calling upon all people to get back to the normal connection, and he's calling upon all people to get connected all together to carry out this work on, so that it moves so smoothly and without so many problems like we are facing now.
Kubanga bw'ogenda okukitunuulira buli muntu ensi we tuli, buli muntu ali mu kusikangana na munne, naye bannaaye nandisabye ffenna tukwatagane kuba tuli omuntu omu.
So, okay, because you may see now people are now scattered, people are not friendly to each other, but he's calling upon our people to come together, work out things together, and do things together so that we serve our earth in a right way and for it to serve us in a right way.
Era n'abandiwulidde omulanga guno Madam Bridget nga bw'oli omuzindaalo, nandikusabye era otuuse omulanga guno eri abandi badde bawulira abampulira kati n'abatasobodde kumpulira mu ssaawa eno, bankwatireko batukwasaganyirize wamu ku Luther esobole okugenda mu maaso n'activities zayo esobole okutambula, ne kuteesa nga junior school oba junior school egyo twagala okubangawo okusobola okuyamba abaana.
And he says, through you, dear Bridget, he would like to pass through you. He would like you to act as a mouthpiece to inform all people who has been able to listen to us and others who haven't been able to listen to us to come out and support us in our projects, like the setting up of Kutesa Junior School, like the funding of Lobowa Traditional Healing Association, and to let this work we've talked about move smoothly.
I agree.
Yeah,
I agree 100%.
Now, Madam Bridget n'abatuwuliriza, So at this time, I want to use a simple English I have. Yeah?
Yeah.
So I want to thank very much, so much, Madame Bridget, and the people who listening for us, to thank everybody. Thank you so much.
Well, thank you. Thank you, because it's like midnight your time. So in order for you to like have conversations with me or come on the show, you guys have to be up really late into the late hours. And I can hear a lot of the crickets and all the other stuff going on in the background.
Yeah, so thank you. So I'm ready, Madame Bridget.
All right, so we're closing the show. Thank you. Bye. Bye.
Radio at freedomslips.com, and we'll be right back after this message.
Take a look around, kid. What do you see? Homes being foreclosed, people working 2-3 jobs just to put food on the table and still drowning in debt. Don't get me wrong. This country was founded on great ideals and principles. They've all been ruined by the banks. Open your eyes to banks that are robbing you. You know who my favorite president was? Who? Thomas Jefferson. Because he saw all of this coming and tried to stop it. He fought the banks. JFK too, and they killed him for it. The banking institution is more dangerous than an army, he said. He also said that every generation needs a revolution, Jimmy. The American dream is just that. Just a dream. War is a continuation of politics, only by other means. Politics is a continuation of economics by other means. This is our bank. This is our war. And this is our plan of attack.
Banks have become an essential threat to our democracy. So consider this justice.
Thank you for listening to Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com, the #1 listener-supported radio station on the internet. Please help support this station so this battle can continue forward. Revolution Radio!
This is the people's war. It is our war. We are the fighters. Fight it then. Fight it with all that is in us. And may God defend the right.
Warning, warning.
We gotta stop them! They're gonna kill us all! See how the trouble you've started? Be they the government, be they industry, be they organized labor, be they anyone, or human beings. Time when the operation of the machine becomes so odious, makes you so sick at heart that you can't take part. You can't even passively take part. And you've got to put your bodies upon the gears and upon the wheels, upon the levers, upon all the apparatus, and you've got to make it stop. And you've got to indicate to the people who run it, to the people who own it, that unless you're free, the machine will be prevented from working at all.
Revolution Radio at freedomslips.com, the #1 listener-supported talk radio station, throwing ourselves